Hi, hello. Welcome back to Emily AZ, and today is another episode of TBR Tackle. Now, I've been running a little behind and have already finished quite a few books, but have forgotten to update. So let's do that. The ending of April, beginning of May, hectic, busy, crazy, wild. But you know what? We're here, I'm loving it, I'm having a great time, and let's jump in and then we'll go from there. Okay, cool. Starting off strong, not on my official TBR. Here we are with Lanny by Max Porter. I had this picked out a long time ago, last year even, and never got around to it. So here we are. This, I'm gonna read you here because I can't even describe what this book was about. There's a village an hour from London. It's no different from many others today. One pub, one church, red brick cottages, some public housing, and a few larger houses dotted about. Voices rise up as they might anywhere, speaking of loving and needing and working and dying and walking the dogs. This village belongs to the people who live in it, to the land and to the land's past. It also belongs to dead Papa Toothwort, a mythical figure that school children used to draw as green and leafy, choked by tendrils growing out of his mouth, who awakens after a glorious nap. He is listening to this 21st century village, to its symphony of talk, drunken confessions, gossip traded on the street corner, fretful conversations in living rooms. He is listening intently for a mischievous, ethereal boy whose parents have recently made the village their home, Lanny. And that's it. Like, that's all you really need to know. And I highly recommend doing immersive reading for, like, this alone. It has multiple narrators, and when you get to a section like this, they're all different voices doing this. And these represent the conversations that dead Papa Toothwort is overhearing in the village and is like taking note of. And this is just this like wild, atmospheric, fantastical, fantasy-esque short story. I read this in like 2 days. I could have read it in one. I just lost time, basically. Yeah, I gave this a 4. And I read this for one of our Escape the Readathon prompts. I'm debating, I think it's okay if I mention it. At this point, by the time you see this, we'll be halfway through the month of May. So like, but I used this, my team had unlocked the theater, and I used this for one of the games in the theater, which was to read this book. That's why I'm like, do I tell what the prompt was? Like, it's, but it was for, I'll just say that. It was for the game in the theater, and I read this. 4 stars. Then I read Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang by Kylie Lee Baker. This was the Literally Dead book club pick for the month of May. I've already finished it. Read it in 2 days. It was amazing. I listened to the audiobook of this. It's phenomenal. So great. So I'm going to go ahead and like get this copy back to the library, return my audiobook so that the next person can read it. This was wild. We are following Cora, who is a crime scene cleaner, and she is struggling. We are also like post-pandemic, and she is struggling with the day-to-day reality that her sister was murdered in front of her just for being Asian. And this addresses the heavy topics of like Asian hate and like racism and xenophobia and stuff like that a lot of our Asian community members went through during the COVID pandemic. And that is horrible. And it really highlights that the horror itself are people, not anything supernatural. Cora is being haunted by a ghost, and she's trying to deal with being haunted, and at the same time starts noticing at the crime scenes that she's cleaning, they're all Asian women, and starts to pull these threads of a deeper plot of this murder mystery of who is killing these Asian women, and is it a serial killer, and is this the same person, serial killer, that killed her sister. I played this as well for Escape the Readathon, but I put this actually in the bar. I consider this a genre blend because it is a horror mystery. Yes, it's horrific and it is violent and brutal and there is like ghosty supernatural things, And there is this underlying mystery throughout of who is killing these Asian women. And that's what I chose this for. I gave this 4.5 stars. It just was missing, I don't know. It wasn't quite a 5. It really has stuck with me, but it just wasn't quite a 5, but very close. Then I finished Aisha at Last by Uzma Jalaluddin. And this is a Muslim-centric retelling of Pride and Prejudice. I ended up giving this a 4.5 as well. I have never read Pride and Prejudice. I have never seen Pride and Prejudice. I really don't know what that story is about. I don't care. This was great. I'm starting to get weird sun because it's that time of day, but this was phenomenal in that it was this fun trump, and it also really highlights the like Islamophobia that Muslim communities can and do deal with on a daily basis. We had some xenophobic characters. We had this one character who was awful, but you love to hate them. We are following Aisha though as she's trying to navigate what it means to be a modern Muslim woman in her Canadian community, as her cousin is going through like an arranged marriage process. She meets a guy. They kind of start off enemies, don't become lovers, but enemies to partners, to friends to partners potentially kind of thing. And it's, yeah, like I gave it a 4.5 instead of a 5 because there are sections that to me just drug on a little bit too long and started to feel a little monotonous, a little tedious, and it was like, okay, yes, we've done this. Can we let's pick it up, let's move it along. But was really good other than that. I have finished The Chromatic Fantasy by H.A. This is following Jules and Casper, who are both trans men, as they go on this adventure through this fantastical landscape and self-discovery kind of thing. Jules is in a pact with a devil. In exchange for like their soul and giving up their body, their physical body, to the devil has agreed to keep them basically alive and impervious to harm. They can't die, and they've become like the best thief ever. And they meet Casper, and then they start this love affair, but the devil is jealous of Casper, and they have to face obstacles in order to be together. And it's just a funny, sex-filled romp through this fantastical universe. And ultimately, it's just this beautiful love story between Jules and Casper, and I was obsessed. And the author's note at the beginning basically says that they just really wanted to write this. They wrote this when they were like really sad and just needed something to like fill that gap, and noticed there was a gap in queer literature that has to do with trans men, and they just really wanted to draw 2 trans men in love, and that's what they did. And this was really, really fun. I gave this a 4 as well. I think both of these were for the gym and spa. Not to unlock it, but to play the game within the gym and spa. I'm not going to say what I used them for, other than they were in the gym and spa. And now I have started State of Paradise by Laura Vandenberg. So far, this is really reading / feeling like a Black Mirror episode. And I will definitely talk more about this, except for my camera is overheating. So I don't want anything bad to happen to my camera overheating. So I'm gonna stop this here, let the camera cool down. Plus, it is Mother's Day right now, and my boys are gone. They've gifted me the pleasure of having the house to myself for Mother's Day. So I'm gonna go take a bath and relax and just enjoy my peace and quiet. Time of day where it's just a little too bright, but like I need to film, so we're gonna make this quick and wrap up this video, because all I really have to do is fill you in on State of Paradise by Laura Vandenberg. I did finish this, and I read this. My team had opened up the gym and spa, and I read this for one of the prompts in the gym and spa. I ended up giving this a 3.5. It was this surreal science fiction, magical realism fever dream, very stream of consciousness, very out there. I'm gonna compare it to a TV show that I have never watched but I think is accurate, and that is Black Mirror. To me, this read like an episode of Black Mirror. I know what the premise of Black Mirror is because my husband watches it and has watched it and has seen all of it, and like I've caught snippets of it, and I understand that it's like an exploration of people and technology, and it gets weird, it gets violent, it gets spooky, and I think that sums this up. So if you're a fan of Black Mirror, potentially find this and pick this up. Our protagonist is dealing with these strange disappearances that are happening in her community that like doesn't really affect her until one day it does, because her sister then becomes one of those people that has gone missing, and she thinks it's connected to these virtual reality headsets that this mysterious company called Electra handed out to members of their community, the population, during the event of a pandemic. It's kind of implied that it's COVID, but kind of not at the same time. She's very vague. It just says it's a pandemic. But then after the pandemic as well, weird things started happening to people. I don't really want to say because I feel like it's kind of spoilery. Let's just say that our character starts to notice that her belly button is not the same as it was before the pandemic and she got sick. It's surreal, and it's multi-layered of just like she is a ghostwriter and there's connections to her boss and the person she writes for and this tech company, and she and her sister end up going on this weird journey, and I don't know, it was surreal. But maybe check it out. I don't know. I have read other things since then, but I'm gonna save that for next week's video because that's going to fall under more games that we have done. And I think I want to stick with like these videos hopefully being 2 games, 2 rooms unlocked in Escape the Readathon, and I can just share with you the books that I read during that time and what I chose to fulfill those prompts. So yeah, this is a shorty, and that's okay. I kind of like when I keep my videos condensed and shorter because it's a lot easier on me to edit and upload and all of that on my end of things, and I don't get as annoyed with myself for talking way too goddamn much. It just also helps because I am trying to I've got other projects going on the side, and we are starting to prepare for end of the school year, summer vacation, we have trips planned, so it's just a lot. So when I have a nice condensed video to edit and upload, it just makes my life a whole lot easier, and I'm so thankful with myself when I actually sit down to edit. So I'm gonna go, and hopefully this is not too horribly washed out because I'm not refilming this. Oh well. But thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for being here. I can't wait to see what rooms we unlock and Escape the Readathon next. Okay, bye. Be easy with your hearts.